thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. This is Up for a Chat with Cyndi O'Meara, Carren Smith, and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you, inspiring you to awaken the change within. I'm Carren Smith.
I'm Cyndi O'Meara. Sorry. That's too funny. Go, Kim.
We're not going to stop and redo it.
No, of course not.
No, let's keep going.
We always do. I always make a mistake somewhere.
I'm Kim Morris.
And I'm Cyndi O'Meara.
Welcome to today's podcast, you couple of confused little kiddies. I thought you were actually going to say I'm Kim Morrison. I thought Cyndi was going to say I'm Kim Morrison. Oh, that's hilarious.
That was hilarious. I have not made that mistake, and we've done 90 hours of
There's a
podcasting.
first for everything.
There is a first for everything. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kim. I rained on your parade.
No, not at all. Because look, now it's all about me.
True that.
There's always a positive.
There's always an upside. So today, on today's podcast, let's get into it. Let's talk about what we wanted to bring up and bring some awareness to, and that is the whole question. Well, actually, it's probably not a question out there, but it will be at the end of this podcast, of multi-level marketing. And in particular, I think it would be cool to talk about multi-level marketing in the context of health. Because there are a lot of multi-level companies out there who are providing skincare, supplements, food, detox programs.
Cleaning products.
And it's all, around the whole health and wellness genre. In the context of it replaces what people can buy in stores or replacing meals and food. And I think it's curious as to the success that these companies are experiencing, the kind of people who are signing up to become distributors, and then also the people who use these companies and advocate for their products as purchasers. So let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's talk about what these companies are about, the quality of the products that they're supplying, and whether it's something, to look at, to research, to be a part of or not. Because I think that that's also the other side of the coin is this really as viable an option if we're just talking about health and wellness, or is it more of an option that's just purely about making money? Because I think that exists no matter what products we're talking about. There's a level of, I don't want to use the word corruption because it's not certainly what I'm thinking. I just can't get the right word, but it's where we manipulate the truth in order to make money. And I think, we can all see where that occurs in society. And is that occurring in the multi-level marketing, genre? Is that there?
Well, I think first up, multi-level marketing as a business model is actually very powerful. And I think it has its place because there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily want to start their own business, but this allows them to be part of a business model that is like having their own business. And allows them to feel safe that they are part of a team in an already established model, literature, back end, and support. And a lot of the multi-level marketing, I've been involved in 4 different multi-level marketing companies, and I would say they're very positively based. They're very high energy, and they're good people usually that you get to meet, and they're fun, and it's all about connections and networking together and building one dream with a whole lot of you doing the work.
And there's a company that I work for, that I speak for regularly, and they are not in the health and wellness genre, they're in lingerie. And oh my goodness, are they the most fabulous organisation to be a part of? When they call, I get excited because it's just, exceptional, and the philosophy and the culture of the place is just second to none.
Are they multi-level or are they...
They're direct selling.
Direct selling.
It's a one level, isn't it, or two level?
No, it's multi-levels. Like there's me, and I'm a distributor, and I've got an upline, and then another upline, and another upline. Yeah, so there's uplines. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that Kathy's part of.
Yeah, Kathy's part of it. And
so she's a director, and then underneath she's got team leaders, and then there's consultants, and then there's,
Yeah, and she does get a percentage, I believe, of sales.
Oh, for sure, of each level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's really positive. And if you hear Robert Kiyosaki and even Virgin, Richard Branson, whenever these guys talk about money and ventures and things like that, they do compliment multi-level marketing structures and companies as far as being your own manager and being able to devise your own team. So
there's validity in the model.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the model that we're
questioning. It's the product.
Here.
Yeah, but I just wanted people to feel that if there are people involved in this, that we're not here to say that it's wrong.
Oh, no, I think it's just a conversation as to... Yeah, no, good point, Kimmy.
Yeah.
Very good point.
I think it's a conversation about why you're getting into it, and our very good friend Kathy has just gotten into a multi-level marketing, skincare and nutrition.
Oh.
Yeah, she's just gotten into something, and you ask her why you in it. She says, "I'm there for the money."
Yeah, right.
That's why, and she's being honest about it. I'm there for the money.
But she's okay.
And she, I think she believes in the product as well, but she knows that she has grown the business so fast because she's one of those women that she has no fear and she just goes for it and she's amazing. And, I actually believe you have to know why you're going into it. If you're going into it and you're going in to help people as far as their health goes, which I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people go into these things for their health. And they're introduced to it and it may help them for a short amount of time, but eventually it may not help them completely. And for some people it might be something that they can continue on and do over and over and over, and it will be good for them. But I think people go into it a little bit blindly. I don't think they're really looking at what is the skincare, what is the supplements. And
doing their own research because they're not nutritional experts. They're just people who obviously have an interest in it or they see it as a money-making opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And they might see it as that they are helping people because initially when you start to give more vitamins and minerals to a human being who has been eating breakfast cereals, modified milks, toast that's made with 50 ingredients, margarine and Vegemite and cheese sandwiches and lean cuisine.
Yeah.
When you start to give them food that's got nutrition, they will initially start to get better. But it's not something that the body recognises in the long run as real food. And people have convictions around these things and become quite passionate. For instance, I wrote something on my Facebook page quite a while ago about two of these and just said, please be aware that they maybe not be telling you the truth. The marketing and the advertising for this product might not be telling you the truth. When you really look at their ingredients and you look behind what they're saying, you have to consider that maybe it's just about marketing and advertising. Maybe it's just about selling you a product, and maybe it's not about the health and well-being of a human being. And it's interesting, I gave this huge research report to some friends of mine, and my husband did because he was concerned about them because they were in one of these companies. And this report was huge. It was written by a lady who has a master's in nutrition, and she went through every ingredient, figured out where it came from, if it was genetically modified, if it had nanotechnology, was it real, was it not real. She went through it like a fine-tooth comb, which takes days to do. Like I'll do one product, not all of the products, I'll do like one product. And so we sent the information to them, and they just said the bigger that these companies get, the more knockers there will be. So even in the face of evidence, they did not want to...
They didn't want to do their own research on it?
No, they didn't agree with what this nutritionist had written.
And I wonder to what extent, like if you're looking at that as an example, if I got information like that, I would go and do my own research. I would go and check it out, and I would make sure that I at least had my defence of what I was doing was informed. But unfortunately, I wonder if they were to do the research, they're only doing the research back with the company. Yes. And of course the company is going to advocate for what their product is. And of course their company is going to have their own research that backs what they're doing. But I don't think that's the place to go. I don't think that's where you go looking. You go looking independently.
Yeah, I think you need to go. Yes, you go looking independently. And most people who join these companies, unless they do have a knowledge about food and ingredients, don't even know what they're really looking at when you read the ingredients. So,
because it doesn't make sense.
No, like you'll see one and you'll read all the ingredients that may have canola oil in it, and you'll go, oh, well, this canola oil should be okay, and it may have soy lecithin, and it may have a flavour in it, and it may have this. But the company's explained it all as, this is a non-genetically modified canola oil, yet there's not a lot of non-genetically modified canola oil around. Or it might say, this is soy lecithin, but it's not saying non-GMO soy lecithin, and it could be GMO, soy lecithin.
Or it says no parabens, but there's sodium benzoates in it, which are a part of the paraben family. So you're not led to believe the full story if you don't know. And that's what happened for us. We actually went to America, when one of the companies we were involved in, and one of the branches of the company was supplements, one was technology and one was skincare. And we asked and met with some of the scientists behind the whole skincare side of it and asked them about the ingredients. And he defended it to the hilt with that whole story about, you don't want to have germs or bacteria in the skincare. And the more we questioned him, the more he turned around to me and he goes, what? Do you want to save the world or do you want to make some money?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
That's what one guy said to us. And then another one was far more appreciative of our questions, but also had their real beliefs as to why these ingredients were in there and that there was no harm. They were only small amounts. And even when we asked about the accumulation effect, they didn't really seem to have anything around that. They didn't think there was too much around that at all to be worried about. So it was in that moment that I decided for us, we would stick to the technology part of the company and certainly not go into the supplementation or the skincare side. That's where we stood. In fact, they were horrified to discover that we'd given all our skincare to Salvation Army. You buy your kit and you got all this stuff, and I didn't use it. So, but having said that, there's a lot of people in the company that are really good people. Really good people.
Everybody's intentions are honourable.
And making a lot of money, making a good living from it. And maybe, there's, like Cyndi always jokes and says, don't tell everybody about the wheat problem, because we haven't got enough enough ungenetically modified product to actually sustain 7 billion people.
No, I always say don't let everybody know about grain, because we can't all be hunter-gatherers.
No, that's the same. Sorry.
We stopped being hunter-gatherers and became agriculturalists. And because we became agriculturalists, we increased our population. So we cannot go back. All of us can't go back to that because we can't feed the world as hunter-gatherers. We need grain to feed us.
Well, and the same thing. Not everybody's going to afford or wants to go down. We would not be able to sustain the skincare industry with natural ingredients either. The amount that's consumed, there is no way the planet could sustain the plant production to create that. So maybe there's a place for all of this, but it's kind of hard when you stand in our place in that real belief of natural is better, or work with what nature provides. And that's what for me, skincare started with anyway. I mean, they used to use ostrich bile and products from the animals that they would consume the meats from. They would use parts of the animal for skincare. They would use many parts of the plants for all the therapeutic qualities in skincare. We couldn't sustain the amount we consume if it wasn't synthetically produced. So I get it. I don't choose to use it. I think the part I struggle with is when people try and ram it at you or constantly are hassling you when you make it quite obvious you're not there. And
I get that a lot. There's always somebody that wants to sell me the next new best product, and there's lots of them around. I would get one a week.
Yeah, easily.
I'm absolutely blown away by how many people say, would you like to, do this, do that. I remember back in 1980, I was living in America, and I had this guy come up to me. I was in a maitre d' at a very exclusive restaurant, and I had this guy come up to me and he says, you've got a lot of talent. I think you'd do really good in my business. Would you come and have a conversation with me. So I went and had lunch with him, and it was Amway.
Ah.
Yeah.
You know,
I had
as
a doctor
as a young
ask me,
20-year-old,
I was working in a physio clinic and as a remedial therapist, and this doctor had come for a treatment, and at the end he said, I'd really like to do some work with you. I was so flattered that a GP wanted to work with me, and so I met with him, and within a minute I said, is this Amway? Mm-hmm. And he went, we're in the car again. He wouldn't tell me, and that was the other thing that I used to find a bit frustrating with Amway, that caginess. So I'd rather you were upfront. This is what it is. Here's the ingredients. Are you interested? And see where you go from there.
I remember, actually, even just like up to about a month and a half ago, I would get approached to go on board and become a multi-level marketing distributor or consultant or whatever. I mean, now I look at that and I think, they asked me to do that now. I think that's a little bit funny. But I feel for them, because I think, well, you're obviously just trying to build your own business, and you think I'm going to leave my business to join yours. Well, that's, I think that's a little bit funny. But I think that the thing that I found, or now that I'm a little bit more educated, I guess, about the products, is the things that I found is that there's an unwillingness to see that the products in and of themselves are questionable. And if the person really wants to, or people really want to make a difference like they say they do, I think that's the point that you made first up, Cyndi, is be clear. You're either doing it to make money and then say that, or you're doing it to make the world a better place, then say that. But if you're doing it to make the world a better place, then know what you're doing and know the quality of the product that you're providing, and be prepared to stand behind it through education and research, rather than because somebody else has told you this saved this person, or that person, was cured from bowel cancer or whatever. Because I think those are the stories that people get told as they come on board as distributors, which really draw you in. Really, really draw you in, because you think, wow, this must be a miracle. And, truth be told, as your research is now showing as well, it's not.
Oh, no. And I think, what happens is that we got all up into the hype of it, and, claims are made, claims like this band of products is the best on the market and can be used in various combinations for detoxification, for supplementation, for nutritional cleansing, including supporting performance, weight loss, healthy aging, and much more. So you all get excited about it. And nobody seems to know how to look at the ingredients, and nobody seems to question the ingredients. And if you do question the ingredients and you go to the company and you say to them, well, what about this canola oil and what about this soy lecithin? Then they come back with, let's just look at one company. I'm not going to name the company, but let's look at one company when the question was asked about lecithin. So the response to the soy lecithin is essential to every cell in the bodies of plants and animals. The highest source in our diets are egg yolks. Far from dangerous, lecithin is an important source of choline, which is good for the liver and brain. Our lecithin is highly purified to be free of any proteins or anything else. The purpose of lecithin is as an emulsifier to help keep fats and waters from separating in products such as such and such a bar or such and such a dark chocolate. Because of repeated confusion that the presence of soya as an ingredient suggests we use soya protein versus whey, we're also transitioned to use of lecithin from canola and sunflower in several of our products. So they already know there's a concern about the soya. So they are transitioning into canola, which is genetically modified, and sunflower. But let's just really look at what soy lecithin is. Is that okay?
Yeah, go.
Okay, so
because that's in everything.
It's in everything. So whether it's soy lecithin, whether it is canola lecithin, or whether it is sunflower lecithin, it comes from a sludge that's left after the crude soy oil or canola oil or sunflower oil goes through a degumming process. So it's a waste product containing solvents and pesticides and has a consistency ranging from a gummy fluid to a plastic solid. Before being bleached to a more appealing light yellow, the colour of lecithin ranges from a dirty tan to a reddish brown. The hexane extraction process, so they're using hexane to extract it.
And what's hexane?
Yes.
It's like, no, it's a solvent.
Okay, right.
Is used in a soybean oil manufactured today, yields less lecithin than the older ethanol benzol process.
Oh, wow.
But produces a more marketable lecithin with better colour, reduced odour, and less bitter colour. 3 components of soy protein have been identified in the soy lecithin, including a trypsin inhibitor, which stops digestion of protein, which has a track record of triggering severe allergic reactions, even in the most of minuscule qualities. The presence of lecithin in so many food and cosmetic products poses a special danger for people with soya allergies. So it's not only used in the food industry and the supplement industry, it's used in the food industry.
The cosmetic industry.
The cosmetic industry. So that's just looking at one minute product that's in it, but it is in everything.
It's in chocolate.
Yeah, well, it's in the chocolate.
Yeah.
Well, it's in most chocolates. And people will read it and they may question it, but then when the response of the company is, lecithin is essential for every cell in the body, then it starts to confuse the person that...
Well, totally.
Yeah, because they're not informed. They're just not informed. And there's, all the hype about agave or agave syrup. They're all talking about it. And agave is high fructose corn syrup.
Hey?
Yeah, it's just a high fructose corn syrup.
Is it?
Isn't it from a cactus plant?
Yeah, but it's produced the same as corn. Corn syrup, high fructose corn. It's fructose, and there seems to be... So I'll read it to you. So agave is heavily promoted as a low glycemic food, enticing for diabetics. Highly effective agave product marketing campaigns have persuaded consumers the sweetener is a healthy alternative to sugar. As more and more people veer away from deadly artificial sweeteners and high fructose corn syrup, but not from their sugar addiction, unfortunately, they are on the hunt for safer and healthier alternatives, and agave has taken it up. It's a fully chemically processed sap from the agave plant and is known as a hydrolyzed high fructose inulin syrup. It needs to be hydrolyzed so that the complex fructosanes are broken down into fructose units, or it won't be sweet. Agave is almost all fructose, highly processed sugar, and great marketing.
Oh, wow.
Bloody hell.
And that's one of the products, because they see it as a term that says agave. Everybody loves agave, and so agave is in a lot of health products now.
Yeah.
And a lot of these multi-level marketing snack bars and chocolate bars and whatever they're giving, and you read the protein bars as well, even the protein powders, they're all filled with agave, or they've got soy protein isolate, or they've got whey protein isolate. And when you realise how they're produced, and they're byproducts, by the way. Soy protein isolate is a byproduct of the oil industry, and whey protein isolate is a byproduct of the cheese industry.
Wow. And then there's that maltitol.
Maltitol is just another sugar, but I'm just not sure how that's produced. But it's a man-made sugar, and I believe it's in the wheat-based sugars.
Right.
So glucose is a wheat-based sugar. Maltodextrin is a wheat-based sugar. Dextrose is a wheat-based sugar. So what they do is they get wheat and they turn it into a glucose by doing a process. You have to do a process. Wheat's not sweet. And so then you've got to, and you know how sweet glucose is, and it puts your blood glucose levels up, and it has an index of 100, which means it is the thing that takes it to the highest amount.
So do you think, or do you believe that a lot of these multi-level marketing companies that are advocating health products, are they a step better than going to your supermarket? Do you think?
No, I think the same.
They're the same.
Yeah, I look at them, and to me they look the same. I read the ingredients, and I might read an ingredient of a professional protein bar. Where only professionals are allowed to buy it, and then they sell it to their patients.
Oh, yeah.
So I've looked at those, and I've looked at the protein bars that are available in your
in shopping centres.
Well, you know, what are they called? They're big protein places where you go in and it just smells of protein. Max Nutrition, things like that. Those places, you go in there.
Bodybuilding shops.
Yeah, bodybuilding, that's what I'm trying to say. So you go in there and you have a look at that. And then everybody believes that the vitamins and minerals are coming from food. But they're not. They're all synthetic. So how does the body recognize a synthetic vitamin? And what does it do with it? And how does it figure it out in the end? You know, like I said in the beginning, it may start to help. But eventually the body can't continue on that road of not real foods. And if you're having powders and potions and supplements, and I look at the supplements in some of them, like one of the ones that we aren't mentioning names because there's heaps of them out there. But one of the ones, I look at their supplement range and you'd be rattling if you took every supplement. And many of the supplements are really very similar. Mm. And then it'll say it's for your adrenals or it's for your thyroid or it's for energy or it's for this or it's for that. But your body, you know, it just uses vitamins and minerals that is in food that's wrapped in macronutrients such as proteins, fats and carbohydrates. And it's able to use it. You don't need them in big amounts. You need them in micro amounts. That's why they're called micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. And macronutrients, fats, carbohydrates and proteins, are macronutrients because we eat them in macro amounts. So a lot of the synthetic vitamins, so we know that vitamin A can come from acetone. Most vitamin A in food is beta-carotene, and that's plant-based foods. Is at a beta-carotene. Beta-carotene is made from the petrochemical industry. Vitamin A is from acetone.
That's nail polish remover, right?
Yeah, it's nail polish remover. It can be made from other things as well. It can be made from calcium oxide, and it can also be made from palm oil. So they combine fish and palm oil. Oh. And then they combine it with other chemicals, and a chemical engineer will be laughing at me going, oh, well, that's just the way we do it. But when you look at it, like B1 is from the petrochemical industry, and it can be created as a bunch of chemical reactions or some fermentation processes. We can go through each one of the vitamins, and they say natural B6, natural B5, natural B3. But it's not real.
How do they get away with saying natural when it's not?
Well, because it's like natural flavouring versus artificial flavouring. They may start with the food that's got it in there, but through all the chemical processes, it may not end up being the thing. It's like, Kim, what's a cosmetic that they call natural but is definitely not natural, and they can get away with it.
Oh, well, you can put the word perfume on or fragrance and it could say naturally derived, but it's actually got 400 chemicals that have been created from the naturally derived substance to call it a perfume or fragrance. I want to ask you, if you get into one of these companies, obviously with a noble cause and a desire to do better for your family, and it gives you opportunities of working from home and all of those wonderful attractive features that it has.
Yeah. The
one thing that I noticed was for pretty much all of the companies that I have seen up close and personal, or even been involved in either as a customer or as a distributor, the science and the literature and the backing is phenomenal. It's they're very convincing and very, very
they have
supportive. Well, of course,
but remember, you can support anything in the literature, because when Steve and I are talking about something, he says, Cyndi, 50% of the literature says this, and the other 50 says this, which is the exact opposite.
You can find research for anything.
You find research for everything, and that's why I have a philosophy, so that I can't be swayed too easily by these marketing and advertising and research, because as Steve says, 90% of research cannot be replicated, but it leads us to the 10% that we know works and is functioning and we can replicate and we understand it. So you can go into the literature and it can be published literature and it won't be replicable. You cannot replicate the scientific experiment that they've done. And if you can't replicate it, then it's not valid.
But you wouldn't know this if you weren't educated in this, or if you weren't aware of this. You would go with blind faith and belief that these people had your back and it was the best thing out for you. So our purpose of today was really for those of you involved in a company to really look at, if it's working for you and you love it, then great, keep it up and that's what you want. I think what's come out of today is that all of us have been asked to join many different companies lately. Many of us get asked about get questioned about the ingredients in these products, and that's what brought up this conversation today, is that we've actually, all of us have experienced people telling us that we've got it wrong, that we don't understand the science behind it. And I think what you've just brought up, Cyndi, is one of the greatest points. Work out what your philosophy is so that you're not persuaded by the hype or the marketing. And I think that's really powerful. If we can teach our children and our families what our philosophy and what we stand for, then you don't get swayed by no matter what anyone says, and you accept that we're all different. You don't get into an argument, you don't defend yourself, you're just like, okay, cool, that's where you're at, but this is where I'm at. What would you suggest then if someone's approached you, say with a food multi-level marketing supplementation company, what would be the first thing you look at, you girls? What do you look at?
Ingredients. I go straight to it. I don't need to go any further if I see certain ingredients that I know are not real. I know how they're manufactured. Then I've had a 30-year study on it, so it's very easy for me, to say that. What about you, Carren? What do you look at?
I was recently approached with some stuff, but the first thing that I did, I did turn it over and I did have a look at all of the ingredients. Then I called you. Because I knew that there was a bunch of words and ingredients in there that I'd never seen before and that didn't make sense to me and that were incredibly long and convoluted. And I thought, initially when I first see that, I always think, well, what are you trying to hide? What are you hiding in those really big long words with the hypoxifides and the hydroxyrides and all of that? And the ides and the eights and all of that after our ides and eights podcast on supplements. Now, that's the first thing that I look at. But if I can't figure out what all of those words are, chances are if I've got my phone or my computer there, I'll Google it to try to figure it all out. But if I can't, I'm just going to ring you because for the most part, if somebody's trying to sell me something, then I know that there's money in it.
Yeah.
So if I know that there's money in it, then I know that there's a high likelihood we are in the car, people, that is an ambulance going by, so please forgive us.
It's a lady having a baby.
Oh, she's having a baby.
That's what I've decided. Every time I see an ambulance, someone's having a baby.
What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thought. It's beautiful. New life is being created in that moment.
And they're just rushing to her because she's in pain.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, carry on.
No, I think that's it. I think that's just when I know that there's money involved. If somebody's trying to sell me something and they follow me up and follow me up and follow me up and push and push and push and push, then I know that there's something in it for them. And I know that I need to, that it's kind of like not a warning, but it's kind of like an alert to me.
I think what I found is people that get into this are usually very good sellers. And they're very good at convincing, and one company recently I was approached with, and this wasn't to do with food, it was to do with like a voucher system of some sort. And their sell was that you're going to buy the products anyway, so get rewarded for what you're buying and things like that.
Oh, yeah, I got the same one.
Okay. Yeah. So... And I part and one of the ladies that was telling me about it, and I got told about from 3 or 4 different people, and I started thinking, oh gosh, these people are in it. It must be quite good then. So I looked at it a bit more. And then I decided that the excitement around everybody getting in at this so-called ground floor opportunity, I finally did something that I was advised to do by my husband, which was, well, why don't we say good on you? Come back to us in 4 months' time and show us how much you've made and talk to us then. Yeah. So, some very respected people got in on this. Yeah. And 4 months later, the company did not exist.
Oh.
So I was really intrigued I shouldn't say it doesn't exist. I don't know that for sure, but it's certainly the people that I knew that had gone into it.
Oh, they pulled out.
Well, there was nothing in it for them, and I haven't heard anything more since. But
well, I think that company is still going.
Is it?
Yeah. If it's the same one,
Right.
because I was offered to go to sign up to it.
Yeah.
And then to also put my products in it, so that then I would provide vouchers for my products. But I did this. Well, I didn't do something similar. I just thought, yeah, well, you know what? Because it's still grassroots, is what they said. It's grassroots.
Right.
So I thought, well, let me see it in 12 months, and if everybody's raving about it, then I'll jump in. And they said, no, because you won't be able to get in at that point. You can only get in now.
Yeah.
I said, oh, well, then I'm just going to miss out.
Yeah.
Because it just does not sound, just didn't sound convincing, purely because everybody was so excited about it. That was an alert for me to go, well, it's not an alert to say no. It's an alert for me to do my own research.
Yes.
Rather than to trust what somebody else is saying. It's just an alert for me to say, okay, well, if this is all that in a bag of chips and it's so fantastic, then yeah, I'm definitely going to want in, but I'm going to find out for myself rather than trusting what somebody else says I should.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing. What is the negative around multi-level marketing then? What is, like when everyone, like Amway, when you say the word Amway and for those...
It's because they were so damn cagey. I think it was because they were so cagey. Like, they wouldn't say, I want to talk to you about joining Amway. All they would say is, come, let me talk to you about a business opportunity. And to get them to tell you that it was Amway was close to impossible.
Somebody has screeched on.
We can just smell burning rubber.
Burning rubber?
Maybe that was the ambulance.
I'd say that's where the ambulance has gone, actually.
Anyway, so do you both think multi-level marketing is good or bad from a business point of view?
I think it's got merit, but I think it's like any hierarchy. Like Maya. Let's look at Maya. Maya buys from, let's say, China. Let's say they buy from somebody who's bought from China. So Maya is third down. Then Maya sells to the rest of their Maya stores that then sells to the individual. So there's 5 chains down.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to make a piece of the money. And multi-level marketing is the same. There's the person at the top, and then there's the people underneath them and the people underneath them, and everybody is making a piece of the pie.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. But then you look at direct selling, and direct selling is the company and the person selling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or going to a farmer's market where not everybody's got the pie there. It's the farmer and you. So to me, multi-level marketing obviously has some great business ideas, but when it comes to your health, my belief is that you should be eating seasonally as much as possibly. The foods you can buy seasonally, not everything you can. You should be buying from your farmers markets. You should be or even producing yourself. And this is for food I'm talking about.
Because there's companies out there that also sell home cleaning products.
Yes.
And things like that. And my understanding is a number of those that I've been introduced to are probably, some of them may be a little bit better than the supermarket brand, and certainly cheaper, so I can understand why there's an appeal as a customer to be supporting a friend, or, to buy and help their company or their business, their business part of that model is always, you feel good, you feel like you're supporting someone that you care about. But again, even with cleaning products, some of them are marketed very well on one ingredient, say, a very natural ingredient. Then you turn it over and look at the ingredients, and they're no different to a supermarket brand, some of them. So again, from my perspective, it would be check the ingredients and check the level of science behind it, sure, but also appreciate, like what Steve says, there's always another 50% that say the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I had one guy turn around to me when I was questioning him on this, and his standard answer was this. It was so funny. Put me off the company altogether. oh, they wouldn't put it in there if it wasn't good for you, for God's sake. And then when I kept pushing it, he said, well, you're going to die of something.
Oh,
and I just thought, not the company I really want to work with. But I still think there's good things around the direct selling multi-level marketing companies. So the point that you're making, Cyndi, is there any company you've come across so far that is a really good one, nutritionally, supplement-wise or anything, or have you yet to find it?
Well, I looked at a company, a supplement company once that had the principles of they would get the food, dehydrate it and put it into capsules. And I felt that of all the companies, it was an actual food. But then I've heard things about them as well. I've heard that they don't use organic foods like they said they do. You hear these things, and I don't know if that's true or not, and I'm not going to say the name of the company because they could be very good, and that was the one company I actually felt really good about. But then I see them making gummy bears, and then I start to question them. As soon as I see an ingredient in there that could be genetically modified, is made from chemicals or made in a chemical laboratory, has got some adverse side effects for some people, I lose all faith in the company.
Yeah.
Complete faith in the company. I go, well, if you're going to put it in one of your products, then you actually don't have an ethics about what you're doing.
There's no philosophy.
There's no philosophy. And I think there's a lot of small-time operators now. And I believe Changing Habits is a very small-time operator that, we don't do seasonal stuff. We do foods that you can't buy in your region that have a high in nutrition and can be used as a condiment in your daily diet. So you can't get salt unless you go to the ocean and dry it yourself. So you can't get the salt. So I provide salt. You can't get the sugar, the rapido sugar that I use, or the green powders, so these are the things that can't be found. And my whole thing is to get people from eating Wheat Bix and low-fat milk and Vegemite and margarine and bread to making their own bone broths, making foods from scratch, growing a veggie garden, having herbs, going to their local farmers market, doing everything that they need. And my food to me is to get them to that point. My education is to get them to that point. Once they've got the education, once they've got the know-how of how to do everything, they probably don't need some of my products. They'll need cacao, I must admit. My 100% cacao. They will need that. Cacao. But there may be some things like the probiotics. If you're fermenting your foods, and you're making your own sauerkrauts and you're making kimchis and kombuchas and things like that, then the need for probiotics is probably less. And the same with greens. If you're growing your own greens, then maybe the need for my greens becomes less. Although spirulina and chlorella are things that you can't get out of your garden. They're out of the ocean or out of ponds or out of water, I should say. So, I look at it. I look at it as this: if it's taking you from a junk food diet to an amazing diet where you're doing everything right, then all the better. Yeah. That's great. I'm glad it's got you to that.
It acts as a catalyst.
It acts as a catalyst. But if you think you can live on that for the rest of your life, and that's going to be all you have to do, and that's the thing that's going to get your cholesterol to a good point and your vitamin D up and everything going right, then you're delusional.
And you often I've noticed, especially when I was younger, not so much when I've been older, but there was one particular company that was prolific. Everybody had this particular company's name plastered on the back of their cars, and, it was everywhere. And especially in gyms and fitness places. And when I was younger, I was actually, surprisingly, I was really fit. And I went on this program, and it was shakes and, nutritional supplements and bars and all that sort of stuff. And they actually said to me, you can live on this for the rest of your life. And I remember thinking, beauty, this is going to save me so much time having to make myself food. And it'll also keep my weight down, which is awesome. Do you know, I still remember it because I can feel the hunger. I can feel the hunger that I used to feel. I think I was on it for maybe 3 months or whatever, and I was starved.
Yeah.
starved to within an inch of my life and I couldn't stay on it.
Because they were probably synthetic vitamins and minerals.
Well, for sure.
Yeah, and probably non-real food items, and your body can't do it. You just can't do it.
I still can remember it. Hey, I mean, I would have been about 23 and I can still feel that hunger. Like, that's a hunger like you're going to die hunger.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking to myself, just push through it, push through it. And I spoke to the consultant and she said, push through it, push through it. And I remember it was probably about 3 months. I said, I can't push anymore. I've got nothing left. I'm going to die.
I think the positives, as I said at the beginning with these companies, is very positive, really believing in yourself and really, and maybe they can also become a stepping stone for doing something yourself.
For sure.
And I know that we went to Las Vegas for one of the conventions that we went to, and there was 10,000 people in the room. Wow. And some of these people were supposedly making a lot of money, and it was so exciting. And then the guest speaker was Bill Crosby, and you just got to, it was really cool. And the entertainment, the vibe, everybody was happy, and it just seemed to have a really attractive component to it. So I think it's a match made in heaven if you can find the right product and the right company, because the model is pretty sensational if you don't want to be an entrepreneur and doing your own
out on your own.
Yeah, and if you do want a home, work from home type of business as opposed to working outside the home. But I also think people have to realise that it's for every 100 people that join one of these, I don't know what the percentage is, but the percentage wouldn't be great for those that are making their living and living off it, would it?
That is very true.
Yeah.
No, that is very, very true. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of willingness to do things that other people won't do.
Yeah.
And you've got to be a really, gunshot salesperson.
I think the negative of it, though, and I think this is where I used to feel sorry for certain people that would come into any of those businesses, is that they were promised a lot and you only had to do this much to get that much, but the truth wasn't actually that, like what you're saying. And I think it can also be very discouraging for a lot of people, or feel like you're failing if you don't live up to the expectation or the time limits and things like that. And to be honest with you, we always made our money back in everything we went into, but I found, for me personally, it wasn't conducive often, the philosophy. And it would take me sometimes being involved for a while to understand that the philosophy didn't match mine. I'm not saying it was bad, it just didn't match mine.
Yeah.
And then there was, one company that we're involved in that was all based around negative ion mats. So you put this on your bed. And I did all the research I could on negative ion therapy and electromagnetic therapy and how it could do all these things. And I became one of their presenters to present the information. I really enjoyed it, and we had a great team. What was so upsetting is that I then convinced a number of people to come across to Sydney for the training from New Zealand for it, and 2 weeks later it went under. Oh. And I was so distraught that I felt I'd encouraged these people to come on board into a company that I thought was, the real deal, and I think that put me off a little bit, and so I look at it now and I think, like any business, it's a risk. Like any investment, there's a risk associated to it. So I don't regret doing it, but I certainly, and I'd made my money back by then, but I just felt so bad about the people that had just invested and didn't get out of it.
So you usually do have to invest, don't you?
Yeah, and it's usually a fairly good amount that you invest to start with. I shouldn't say that. I mean, any business, some of them are quite reasonable, but, it's still an investment. And usually you get product for that, and sometimes it's your first kit to sell and things like that. But it's still an investment, which I believe is important. If you believe in it, you've got to back yourself. But I think sometimes you've got to do your research and don't believe everything that's said. Some of the companies have been around for decades and they're doing very, very well. And if that works for you, then I think fantastic. But like you said, Cyndi, I think if your philosophy is there, look at the ingredients, really check it, and be vigilant in your belief.
Yeah. I just have remembered something about one of the multi-level marketing companies that when my sister was really sick and she couldn't eat, we could get liquid into her peg feed, but she couldn't eat. And I can't remember who it was, but someone said to me, oh, you've got to do this juice. And it was like a noni juice or something. I don't know which one it was. So they bought me a bottle. It was $98, this noni juice. So they bought me a bottle and I had a look at it. And I was reading it all and it all looked really good. And then I got to the bottom and it said preservative sodium benzoate. And I'm thinking, it's one, it's a preservative that I would never put in anything. Why are they putting sodium benzoate in this whole thing? And then I started to really read the ingredients and started to realize that there were some dubious ingredients in there. And I'm like, this is what's so hard, because if it wasn't me,
if it was
somebody else and they trusted this person, and you give this drink to a person who's got an 8 centimetre tumour sitting in her gullet, and we were trying to save her at that point, and I look back now and I go, well, it probably would have been okay. Here I am, I'm now going, would it have been better than the peg feeds that are out there? Yes, it would have been, but it's still got that bloody sodium benzoate in it, and then I question the ethics of the company. Why are you putting that in there? So,
can you actually preserve a juice without?
No, you have to. No, because real juice is.
But what about vacuum sealing or heat?
They do this thing called ultra pasteurization, but they boil it within an inch of its life. So, and that,
that's the UHT, like in those Tetra Paks?
Yeah.
So
and they ultra pasteurize, and now they're starting to do this new type of pasteurization, which is like a vacuum pasteurization. I'm sorry, I'm not very knowledgeable on it, but I have heard about it, and apparently it blows up the cells in of the juice. So all juice is made up of cells, and those cells walls are broken. Is that good? Is that bad? I spoke to a chemical engineer who said, we like to explode the cells walls so that more nutrition can get into the body, but we're playing with nature. Nature doesn't do it like that.
Yeah.
What if the body doesn't like that? What if after 20 years of us doing this, we've made a mistake? We're all part of some giant experiment, and nobody's taking note of it. We just go on with the flow and we just eat what we think, we're told is good, and by marketing and advertising. And not only are these multinational marketing companies at fault, so are our Nestle's and our Kellogg's, and those types of people are doing exactly the same thing, marketing and advertising a food that is inadequate to the human body.
Do you think, though, for the person who may not be as aware around natural whole foods and things like that, who has been a white bread, pasta, cereal person, that noni juice with a little bit of sodium benzoate is going to serve them better than, say, a bowl of cornflakes?
It's the bridge. Okay. As I talked about before, it's the bridge.
So there is a place for it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I remember speaking for this wonderful company. Although I didn't agree with a lot of their products, I loved their philosophy. And their philosophy was very much on the same as changing habits. It was about getting cleaner products out to the market, their whole thing was about getting rid of all the chemicals out of your house and using their products that were meant to be a better alternative. Were they or weren't they? I don't know. But I remember seeing people make major shifts. And one of those people has her own company today. And she was with this company for a long time. And then she created my essence. Yeah.
Ah.
So she was with that company and she saw the flaws in it. And she said, I can do it better. And I'm going to do it better. I'm not going to put up with them using this and them using that. She loved their philosophy too, but she decided to create her own skincare products.
Yeah, see, that's a great multi-level marketing company. Yeah.
Is my essence multi-level?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, and she's a local Sunshine Coast who moved to the she moved to the Gold Coast, or was she West Coast? Gold Coast.
I'm not sure.
But she You know, she was with this company and she saw the flaws in it and she decided to do it better.
Wow.
And I think she did.
Yeah, she did a great job.
And you will find there are more and more companies that are doing it better.
Yeah.
Because these companies are being seen as frauds. Even though they have the philosophy, the marketing, the hype, the everything, they're actually being seen as frauds. But the model works well, and people are looking for more ethical models.
For sure.
And the person who brings out the most ethical model of all will win. I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the key to it too is I just love what you just said then. I forgot about Narelle.
Yeah.
She if it's not going well, get off your butt and do something better.
Yeah.
Let's do that. There'll be some people listening to this that could do it better than some companies out there. And like I said at the beginning, I think the model is fantastic.
Yeah. And there are people out there doing it better. Like I've been to the natural product fair, and while 80% of the products I wouldn't touch, there were 20% out there that were doing a great job. And it was so good to see that it is happening. So when you are looking for a multi-level marketing, really research it. There will be another one out there that is probably better, that has more ethics than what is in mainstream at the moment. It's just a matter of looking for them. And maybe you'll bring it out from America to Australia, or it might be in Australia and you'll take it to America or to England or Europe. And, you know, if you do your research, I know they're out there and I know you can find them. It's just a matter of doing that.
So I think that's the real main thing, is like don't trust what anybody else is saying, because there's ulterior motives behind it sometimes. Make sure that you do your own research, do your own investigation, and then make an informed decision.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as you said, Kim, the model is awesome, but just be aware that sometimes there are ulterior motives behind it, and let's not all find ourselves at the mercy of somebody else's ulterior motive.
Yeah. And I think just going on from that, it's businessmen, not nutritionists, and passionate advocates for real health that are behind it often. They just then get the scientists who might be a food chemist to back up what they want to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Interesting. Well, we'd love to hear from you guys, and we'd love to hear if you've been exposed to any multi-level marketing around health and nutrition, and we really want to hear what your thoughts are and your views. You know, what research you've personally done, and, you know, that you've done independently of other people's hearsay. What are your thoughts on it? Make sure that you go to our Facebook page at allthews.facebook.com/up for a chat, or you can also post at allthews.thewellnesscouch.com/up for a chat. And while you're on iTunes, make sure that you give us a 5-star rating. Now, also too, if you guys want to find out more, or you want to, come down the rabbit hole with us more on nutrition and skincare and mindset, there's only one place to go, and that's awakenthechangewithin.com, where we have a live 3-day event running where you're going to get lots of time with Kim, Cyndi and myself exploring more on how nutrition makes a massive difference in the lives of yourselves and your family, as well as health and movement and mindset. So check it out, allthews.awakenthechangewithin.com, and join us here next week on Up for a Chat and become part of the ripple effect that's changing the world. We're going to see you on the ride. Bye for now.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.